Just because you're vegan and gluten-free, it doesn't mean you don't have nostalgia for certain treats you grew up with. For me, it's Lil Debbie snack cakes. And with the holidays coming up, memories of those little Christmas treat cakes got me thinking. Do you remember those? Well, today I want to share with you my recipe for Lil Debbie Christmas treat cake knockoffs. Let's get baking. Okay, so before we start, we should probably examine what we're trying to duplicate here. So I do have a box of Lil Debbie's, and let's dive into it. All right, wow, the memories are flooding back. Let's open that up. Oh yeah, smells like packaged goods. My guess is it's a chocolatey type topping with another type of icing. I'm not sure if that's chocolate as well, the Garland, but I think we're gonna do a royal icing. And then we have some green sprinkles. Let's chop it up. Okay, so let's just cut it so that we can see what we got going on inside. Ooh, okay. So it looks like a yellow sponge cake and your typical cream filling that you find like a Hostess cake or something. Some people at home are probably like, oh my God, she's just dissecting that cake and not eating it. I know, but I have to do the research. Yeah, so that's like your typical cream filling, spongy cake. And to me, this feels like that kind of chocolatey topping. I haven't eaten these kind of cakes in a long time. You know, even just touching it, it's got that really waxy processed food texture. So we're definitely gonna do better than that. Yeah, I think I have enough information here. So let's get started. Okay, so let's make the cream filling first, because that can sit a while we make the other ingredients. Normally with like a cream filling for like a Hostess cake or something like that, I've made vegan versions of that before. I've used coconut oil, which works great, but unfortunately coconut oil gives you that really coconutty flavor. And to me, it's a little overpowering and takes away from the nostalgia, if you will, of like those kind of desserts. So what I'm gonna use today is this shortening from Spectrum, and it's all palm oil, no additives, organic. It's probably gonna be our best option. You can use Crisco. I've done a little research, and all vegetable Crisco should be fine for those who are vegan or gluten-free. I just didn't want to use that because I read the ingredients and there's just a lot more stuff in it. So we're just gonna try to make these a little more simple. So this option is what we're going with today for the shortening. So let's add that in our bowl first. And now we're gonna add 1/4 cup of our vegan butter. Okay. And let's just get that nice and creamed up first. Get them blended well. I'm gonna turn on high. And that's already looking pretty good, like frosting. All right. Let's just take this off while we add the other wet ingredients. So I have 1.5 tablespoons of plant milk. I'm using cashew milk here. You can use anything. I just don't recommend rice milk. It's a little too thin. And then we have 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Blend this until it's nice and combined. And I'm actually gonna stop it just to get all that stuff on the sides that's sticking back down in there. It's looking pretty good. I think I like this shortening. Okay, let's get that going. Yeah, I really like the way that texture's turning out. It's really smooth. Because the texture will change once we add our powdered sugar, but since we're starting off at such a super smooth texture, I know that it'll still be fairly smooth even when we add the sugar. So let's turn that on slow. And we have 1.5 cups of powdered sugar to add. So I'm just gonna slowly add that in while it's mixing. And then slowly increase the speed. And that's looking really good. And again, sometimes unfortunately you have to keep stopping just to get that powdered sugar that's trying to escape off the sides. We don't want that. Let's get that in there again. There we go. And remember, a good tip with this is you might think, oh gosh, it's so, dry. I want to add more milk or more butter. And it's like, no, once you let it blend, it'll get really absorbed in there and it'll be the right texture. Just kind of trust, because you don't want to add too much moisture, because then you're just going back and forth trying to add more sugar to match it and you'll just ruin the recipe. So just give it time, let it blend. Because as you can see now, it looks like, oh, it's too dry, but it'll get in there. So blend that a little faster. And it'll set up a bit, because remember, this is butter and shortening, and they're solid when they're at room temperature or cold. We're almost there. Let's get the rest of these scrapings from the side. All right. And I'm gonna whip it fast for just a few minutes just to get it fluffy. All that air adds volume. Great. All right, let's take a look at that. That looks good. Okay, for this recipe, we need a sheet cake. I already have one made. If you want to find out how I made this one, check out my yellow sheet cake video. Okay, so obviously we need these to be shaped like Christmas trees. I do have a cake cutter. It's not exactly the same as the Lil Debbie cakes. It's a little more fat, I guess. Theirs is a little taller, but it is gonna work for our purposes. So let's use this to cut out some shapes. Just gonna stick it straight down and give it a little wiggle. I do have some parchment paper under here, so that'll help. It is a little sticky though. That looks pretty good. You know what, I'm just gonna take that right out now. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's cute. I have a lot of cake left. I might make cake pops or something with that. But for now, I think this is plenty of Christmas cakes for me. Okay, so we're gonna put these aside and then we're gonna get ready to add the cream. Okay, so I've added some of the cream filling into a pastry bag just to make it easy. We're gonna start here. Just fill it up. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're just gonna top it off anyway. Okay, fill those little gaps. All right, let's carefully top it off. Looking pretty cute. I'm gonna flip this one over because that had a little divots in it. I want a nice flat surface. Yep. Okay. I'll squish them down just a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we're gonna attempt to make that white chocolate topping. I have my vegan and gluten-free white chocolate chips, and then we have a tablespoon and a half of coconut oil. Now, as you're melting your chocolate chips, slowly add in the coconut oil. You want it to be drippy enough and melty enough that you can pour it onto your cakes, but do it slowly because you don't wanna add too much. So just take your time as you're stirring the white chocolate. add in a little bit of coconut oil at a time. Okay, so we've made our ganache. We did a real simple white chocolate ganache with those white chocolate chips, and then we added coconut oil. I did try to make a ganache with a creamer, but it just made it kind of yellowy, and I really want this like white color. So let's try pouring that on now. Yeah, that's looking good. We're just gonna cover them as much as we can because this is actually going to be the bottom. And that being because once this chills and sets, we're gonna flip them over and then do the other side. And I'm wondering if that's how Lil Debbie does it, because when I looked at the package, it also kind of looked like that. Like it was kind of a little sparse on the bottom with the chocolate covering, and then the top had a bit more. So maybe we're doing actual Lil Debbie techniques here, who knows? So we're just gonna do enough here to cover it. Yeah, this is working out beautifully. And while this chills, we'll keep our chocolate on the burner on low just to keep it soft, as we don't want it to seize up while we're waiting for this to set. Okay, so that side is pretty much ready to be flipped. It's nice and hard. So let's just turn these over. Get rid of these little extra bits that might take the shape of the Christmas tree away. We're ready to get the remainder on, and this will be the top of our cake. So we can go a little heavier. Okay, so let's start decorating. I'm going to add some of the green sprinkles. Now I know the actual Lil Debbie's has that more glassy, sugary sprinkles on top. I couldn't find any that I trusted were actually vegan and gluten-free. So I thought these will work, they're green. I found this brand, Green Sprinkles, and I ordered it on Amazon. I got a big case of it, so I'll probably be making a lot more things with this. But it's vegan, it's gluten-free. I trust this one, so we're gonna go with that. And I think it'll still give us the effect we want for these cakes. So, and there's not really that many on, so we're just gonna do probably that much, really. Already feeling like Christmas. Cute. All right, so I do realize that there is another decoration that we need. But the reason I'm doing the sprinkles right now is because I want them to stick to the chocolate. So while this is freezing and while the sprinkles are getting stuck on there, we're going to make our red royal icing for the garland. Okay, so now we're gonna do that royal icing. I'm probably making way more royal icing than I need, but that's fine. I'll use it for something. So we're gonna do 2 cups of our organic powdered sugar. We're gonna put that in our mixer. And then next we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of our cream of tartar. And then lastly, we're gonna have 3 tablespoons of our plant milk. I might need 4 tablespoons, but I'm gonna start with 3 just to be safe. Just put that all in there. And let's get that blended. With royal icing especially, you do not want to add too much milk because it's just going to be runny. It's not going to dry fast enough. And we're going to add coloring to this, so that's going to be extra moisture. So err on the side of less milk. Okay, and I'm just going to get that sugar that's being left on the sides here. Get that all in there. Looking good, looking good. See, I'm already a little concerned if this is too runny as it is. I probably should have started with 2 tablespoons, but let's just see. Should be all right. So now we're gonna add some color because we need this to be red. I found this really cool little kit on Amazon. It's from a company called Sig Wong. I think I'm saying that right. It's vegan, it's non-GMO, it's gluten-free. They have so many cool colors, and they actually have a color, Christmas red. So I think we're gonna choose that one. So I'm gonna start with just a drop, maybe 2. Okay, maybe 3. Let's blend that and see what color we get. Oh yeah, that's good. Actually, it's great color, but it's looking a little pink, so might be able to go with 3 more drops. All right, it's getting closer. Still giving me a little bit of that pink vibe. So I'm gonna go 3 more. We'll see if that gets us there. Yeah. All right, we have gotten darker, but that's not screaming Christmas to me. That's still like a little Pepto-Bismol to me. So we're gonna have to really bring it home with this Christmas red. I'm gonna go 4 more drops. Heads up, that Christmas red food coloring didn't give me the coloring that I wanted. I ended up adding 4 more drops of the red food coloring to get that crimson red look. Still a little runny, but I think when it sets up, we'll be good. So to make this easier on us, I'm gonna put it in a pastry bag. Okay, so these are out of the fridge. They've been set, and our sprinkles have settled in there on the chocolate. So let's add our royal icing that we made. I put it in a pastry bag to make it a little bit easier for us with the tiniest little hole, because we don't want this to come out wildly. We want some control here. Okay. Whoop. And it's nice to let it drip over to cover those imperfections that we might have. Let's see if I can do 1 more here. Cute. All right. I think that's it. We're gonna let that set up so that they're easy to pick up. So we want that royal icing to dry up a bit, and then we'll give it a try. Some of the royal icing is still a little runny just because we had to add so much of that food coloring in. So what I would recommend is start off really small with your milk when you're making the royal icing. Maybe do 1.5 up to 2 tablespoons instead of the 3 that we started with. But it's still ready to go to try. Let's take a look at our original Lil Debbie. You can see it's a lot more white than ours, and it's a little more matte, I would say. But I think we came pretty darn close. I mean, we got the red, we got the green sprinkles, and actually even feeling it, it feels like the same, that little tackiness. Since we didn't do a traditional ganache, I would definitely recommend letting it sit at room temperature before serving, just to make sure that chocolate gets a little soft before you bite in. Here I go. Right away I was like, delicious. I don't know if you can see those layers. That actually came out really good. As soon as I bit in, I was like, wow. You can see the icing. Let me take this apart a little bit. That icing we made, so good. The cake sponginess, it literally reminds me of the Lil Debbie, to be honest with you. The texture and the look of it. I'd say this is pretty darn close. Might not look exactly like the Little Debbie cakes from the store, but if you want to make these treats, it's fun, pretty easy, and extremely tasty. So that's it. You can have your Little Debbie cake and eat it too, with this easy recipe that gets pretty darn close to the real thing. Maybe even better? Let me know what you think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your support helps me to keep making videos like this. Have a great holiday season. See ya!